Today's class is on Vedanta philosophy of education, and in this video, we will understand in the most simple way the meaning of Vedanta, exponents, the branches and the sub-branches of Vedanta, metaphysics, epistemology and axiology, fundamental principles, aims of education, curriculum, methods of teaching, role of teacher and students, discipline, and school. And all these points are very important for your exam, so I suggest you to write it down on your notebook or you may keep a screenshot of it. So to start, what is Vedanta? It is a school of philosophy of Hinduism. It is Astika, which means orthodox type of school. It was founded by Badarayana. It is also called Uttar Mimamsa, which means reflection on the latter part of Vedas, and Brahma Mimamsa, which means reflection on Brahman, which is God. If we look at the term Vedanta, it is made up of two words, Veda, which means knowledge, and Anta, which means end or conclusion. However, this does not mean that knowledge has ended. It rather means that the end portion or the highest teaching of Vedas. Now, what are Vedas? Vedas basically means the core or fundamental text of Hinduism. Vedas are also called Shruti. This is very important to remember. Vedas are also called Shruti because earlier the people used to remember the Vedas by listening. That is, they used to hear it through their ears, and Shruti is the synonym word for hearing. The Vedas are divided into four, which are Rig Veda, which contains mantras and prayers, Yajur Veda, which contains ritual and ceremonial instructions, Samaveda, which contains melodies and chants, and Atharva Veda, which contains magic spells. And each of these Vedas have four subdivisions: Samhitas, which are mantras and benedictions; Brahmanas, which are commentaries on ritual, ceremonies and sacrifices; Aryankas, which are text on rituals, ceremonies, sacrifices; and finally Upanishads, which are texts discussing meditation, philosophy and spiritual knowledge. And since these Upanishads are the end portion of Vedas, it is also called Vedanta. Thus the Vedanta arises out of Upanishads and the end of Vedas. So the founder of this school, who is Badarayana, systematized the vast philosophical belief of Upanishads, which is called Brahma Sutra. This point is again very important. Now let us look at the exponents. Exponents means people who supports an idea or a philosophy. So these are the people: Badarayana, who was the founder, Shankara, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Nimbarkacharya, Vallabhacharya, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now let us look at the branches of Vedanta. There are three major branches of Vedanta philosophy, namely Advait, Vishisht Advait, and Dvait. Let us understand them one by one. Advait, if we look at the term, is made up of two words. A means absence and Dvait means dualism. Thus, Advait means absence of dualism. It was given by Adi Shankara. It believes in non-dualism or monism. According to this school, all Atma, that is the soul, do not have separate existence and are all identical to Brahman. Thus, it believes in oneness of existence. It also says that Brahman alone is the ultimate reality and this phenomenal world is just an illusionary appearance or Maya, which is experienced through avidya, which means ignorance. So the followers of Advait seek moksha, which means liberation, and that can be attained by acquiring vidya, which means knowledge. Acquiring knowledge of one's true identity as soul and the identity of soul and Brahman. This philosophy emphasizes on Jivan Mukti, which means liberation while still alive. All this term Jivan Mukti, Moksha might sound uneasy, but I have written all the meanings so that it becomes easy to understand. So I suggest it is better to memorize all these terms, maybe not for the sake of interest, but for the sake of scoring marks in examination. Also, this Advait Vedanta is the most important of all the branches and the sub-branches of Vedanta. And today when we talk of Vedanta, we basically refer to this school. Now let us look at the second one, that is the Vishisht Advait. This is made up of two words. Vishisht means qualified or special, and Advait means absence of dualism. Thus together if we combine, it means qualified absence of dualism. It was given by Ramanujacharya. This school says that God, soul, nature are all different but not separate. Unlike Advait, like we have discussed, it said that the world is just illusory appearance or Maya. The Vishisht Advait, however, said that the world is not unreal but a part of God. This school believes that Brahman possesses all the good qualities in a perfect degree. Believes in bhakti, worship of God Vishnu. And it says that bhakti is the way to salvation. It says that moksha can be attained only after death. Moksha, which means liberation. Unlike Advait, as it says that Jivan Mukti, which means liberation while still alive, is possible. So these last 2 points are very important. Now moving to the third one, there is Dvait. Dvait means duality or dualism. Thus it is a pluralistic school. It was given by Madhvacharya. According to this school, soul and Brahman are completely different entities. World and God both are real. God, which is Vishnu or Narayan, is supreme and creator of the universe. Bhakti, which means devotion, alone can attract to oneself the grace of God. So those were the 3 major branches of Vedanta. Later on, some other branches of Vedanta emerges from these schools. Hence they are called the sub-branches of Vedanta. These are Dvait Advait, Shuddh Advait and Achinta Bheda Bhed. Let us understand them one by one. Dvait Advait, which means dualism, non-dualism. It was given by Nimbakacharya. According to this school, there are 3 categories of existence. Ishvara, which means God or divine being, Chit, which means Jiva or the individual soul, and Achit, which means lifeless matter. Ishvara or Brahman is the highest supreme reality and is identified as Lord Krishna. Chit and Achit are different from Ishvara, mainly because they have attribute and capacities which are different from Ishvara. But at the same time, Chit and Achit are also not different from Ishvara because they cannot exist independently and are dependent upon him. Now let us look at the second sub-branch, that is Shuddh Advait. Shuddh means pure and Advait means absence of dualism. Thus it is pure absence of dualism. It was given by Vallabhacharya, and according to this school, Brahman, that is God, is pure and non-dualistic. Universe and soul are part of Brahman and they are real and not illusion. Remember, in the Advait it says that the world is just illusion or Maya. However, in this Shuddh Advait, it says that the world is not illusion, but it is real. Now coming to Achinta Bheda Bhed. Achinta means inconceivable, Bheda means difference, and Abheda means non-difference. It was given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Followers devote to Lord Krishna. This school says that individual souls are different also and not different also from the supreme soul, that is Brahma. For example, a drop of water from the ocean is also water of ocean, but it is not ocean. Thus it says that Lord Krishna is all-pervading, non-different, yet he is inconceivably more different. In this way it is Bheda, different also, and Abheda, non-different also. Now let us look at the metaphysics. And all this point will be from Shankara's Advait point of view, as it is most important of all branches and sub-branches of Vedanta for your exam. So do not get confused here. When I talk of reality, it means Shankara's reality. So metaphysics means reality, and Shankara has talked about Ekam Sat, that there is only one reality, which is Brahman, God. The world is not real. It is illusion or Maya. Next, epistemology. Epistemology means knowledge. And knowledge, according to Shankara, is of 2 types, Paravidya and Aparavidya. Paravidya means spiritual knowledge, and Aparavidya means worldly or practical knowledge. Knowledge can be acquired through Shravan, which means listening, Manan, which means thinking, and Nidhyasan, which means practice. And apart from this, Sadhan Chatushtya, the 4 observation method, is compulsory for attaining spiritual knowledge, that is the Paravidya. So this Sadhan Chatushtya is a process in which a person learns the discrimination between real and unreal, learn detachment, train their mind and senses, withdraw from worldly pleasure, develop focus, and practice basically for enlightenment and liberation. Next, axiology. Axiology means values, and values according to Vedanta philosophy are to perform duties loyally and honestly, to realize the eternal universal self in man, to practice self-control, desirelessness and concentration of mind, and emancipation. A person must try to attain emancipation. Now let us look at the fundamental principles of Shankara's Vedanta. Number 1, this universe is made by Brahma, out of Brahma. Brahma, which means God, is true, and this material world is untrue. Soul is the part of Brahma. And since men have a soul and soul is part of Brahma, so there is infinite knowledge and energy in man, but he is unable to recognize this infinite knowledge and energy due to illusion, Maya. And a person who recognizes his soul comes to know everything and is able to do everything. Next, man's development depends upon his accumulated, cumulative and destined actions. Accumulated actions basically means the action done in previous life. Cumulated action means the action to be done in present life, and destined action basically means the outcome of actions done in previous life. Next, the ultimate aim of human life is emancipation. Now here there are 2 types of emancipation. Emancipation from life, which is Jivan Mukti, and emancipation from corporeal bonds, which is Vidya Mukti. And according to Shankara, a person who have attained Jivan Mukti experiences joy, and a person who have attained Vidya Mukti experiences supreme bliss. Next, knowledge is necessary for emancipation. Shravan, which means listening, Manan, which means thinking, and Nidyasan, which means practice, are necessary to gain knowledge. Sadhan Chatushtya, which I have explained to you previously, is essential for effective listening, thinking, and practice. Now, let us move on to the aims of education. According to Shankara's Vedanta, there are two major aims of education: the ultimate aim and the immediate or the helping aim. The ultimate aim is emancipation. We have discussed emancipation in the earlier slides. Immediate aim are physical development and physical purification, mental and intellectual development, moral and character development, vocational education as per Varna. Varna means caste, which are the Brahmins, the Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudras. Next, sensual control and purification of Chitta, which means mind. Next, spiritual development. Now, let us look at the curriculum. Here the curriculum is also divided according to Paravidya, spiritual knowledge, and Aparavidya, non-spiritual knowledge. Subjects for Paravidya would be literature, religion, philosophy, spiritual activities such as Yama, which means self-restraint, Niyama, which means principles, Asanas, which means postures, Pranayama, which means breathing exercise, Pratyahara, which means withdrawal from the material world, Dharana, concept, Dhyana, which means meditation, and Samadhi, which means penance. And non-spiritual subjects would be of language, medicine, mathematics, vocational education, and practical activities such as postures, exercise, food, and celibacy. Here one thing we have to keep in mind is that the Paravidya, the spiritual knowledge, is for all irrespective of the caste. However, the Aparavidya, non-spiritual knowledge, the vocational education, should be according to the various caste, Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. Now, let us look at the methods of teaching. Two methods of teaching were practiced in the Vedic school, which are Maukhik, which means oral, and Chintan, which means thinking. So if you relate this to today's classroom and methods of teaching, for Maukhik it would be question answer, lecture, discussion, storytelling, and for Chintan it would be brainstorming, observation, learning by insight. Now, coming to the role of teacher. The teacher occupied a very important place in the scheme of education. He was the center of education, and without him no education could be conceived. He was called the Guru or Acharya. He was respected as God by the students as well as the society. His role is to become spiritual personality of his disciples, to prepare the people for practical life, to prepare the people for spiritual life. The teacher should be desirous of Jivan Mukti, which means liberation while still alive. So I'll tell you the reason why the teacher should attain Jivan Mukti. So what happens is, the teacher here, the Vedanti teacher, teaches the people in the beginning Tadvamasi, which means you are the Brahma. And the student ultimately experiences Aham Brahmasami, which means I am the Brahma. And this knowledge of Brahma can only be discussed by a person who have attained Jivan Mukti. So it is very important that a Vedanti teacher should attain Jivan Mukti. Next, role of students. The role of students are to follow the truth, to perform virtuous deeds, to be wise, to build concentration of mind, sensual control, devotion to teacher or guru, stay away from worldly pleasure, to abide by sadhan chatushtya, the four observations which we have discussed previously. The student should be desirous of Brahma Jana, which means supreme knowledge. Next, discipline. Discipline is very important here. It is said that self-realization is possible only through training and discipline. Strict discipline was observed. However, that strict discipline should be coming from self rather than imposing by somebody. True discipline means Akagrata or concentration. So this Akagrata is the stage when the child gains control over all his senses, mind, intellect, ego and consciousness. Now, coming to the last one, there is school. Brahmanic education was being conducted in the gurukuls or ashramas of teachers. It suggested that school should be situated away from the hustle bustle of town in the lap of nature. So that was all on Vedanta philosophy. We have covered all the important points of Vedanta and also subscribe to our channel